All right, so let's talk about the new thing. So by the time this is on the internet, obviously it'll be available to listen to, I assume.
Yeah.
I think the first thing that I would say is, like I kind of mentioned before, this now kind of sounds like the next step of of Women of the Wand, which is like, I mean, that's great that it's sort of continuing on from that. But to me, this really sounds like a full level up on that as well. Like it takes a lot of those cool parts. I think where to me it sounds like the songs start sort of seeing their next progression piece, and this sort of
Yeah.
takes it to the next step. And I think, and so I guess the first thing that I wanted to ask is like, with this, is there? I know you're like, obviously you've been a band now for quite a long time. Like, do these songs now take on any newer or like different levels of influence, or do you think these songs just sort of grow from now Potion's a band, you know what Potion is like, this is the next set of Potion songs?
Um, I don't know. I'm glad you said that because when I write it, it's hard to really see that side of it or like how it's different or if it is different at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I always ask Stella, and Stella's just like, Stella, Stella did this thing where she got featured in Revolver for her drawings during
Mm-hmm.
quarantine, and she got interviewed by Bran from Mastodon. So
Yeah.
they had a Zoom meeting in the living room, and I hid on the stairs and listened to it. And at one point, he was talking about the new Mastodon album, and he was talking about like he was kind of giving like the PR riff on it. And he was just like, yeah,
Sure.
there's some doomy songs, but there's also some more kind of like Zeppelin-y classic rock. Like, and it was kind of the stuff that I'd read that he'd been saying to the media. And
Yeah.
then he Estelle, so what's like your band's new stuff like? Like he was kind of giving her an opportunity to kind of like talk about what it's like. And she just goes, oh yeah, it's pretty good. It's the same. So now whenever we talk about the new songs, people are like, what's it like? And I was just like, yeah, it's pretty good. It's the same. And still it just like, laughs. But yeah, it's pretty good. It's the same, in my opinion.
Yeah.
No,
No.
I
Thanks
think
to Stella's PR prowess for that answer.
yeah. And after she got off the call, I was like, it's pretty good. It's the same. He was giving you a shining opportunity to talk about the band. But I don't know. I think I would say if it is any different, it comes from just playing a lot, I think. I think we
Yeah.
know what kind of like what I know what goes off when we play and what people really respond to and what we have the most fun playing.
Yeah.
Uh, so, and I'm getting more and more comfortable moving away from the original kind of like brief of the band. Like I said, I kind of wanted it to be this psych rock thing, and now it's kind of like, well, we're clearly not that. We're this. So let's just lean into it. And I think this heavier stuff. And I also like during like 2020, like that whole year, like all I listened to was death metal. Like I
Yeah.
got really obsessed with death metal. And I think that crept into the writing a little bit as well. Like all three of us actually, we all just got super into like that's pretty much all we listened to last year.
Yeah.
So I think that crept in a little bit. Yeah, I think it's probably just yeah, the stuff that goes off live and listening to a lot of death metal. If that, I mean, I do miss like I think there is like a psychia element of the band that kind of goes to the wayside a little bit on this EP, but I think when with the album, I think there's a lot of room for that as well because I still love that stuff.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing stopping you from combining it. I mean, I think that just given that as well, the releases that you've done to this point are, a short bursts essentially. So it's got to be pretty refined. I mean, I think that, certainly I'd say this recording is like, it's so much heavier. Like in terms of like I would say like just the way it sounds. Like I don't like the riffs are obviously they're heavier too, but I mean I think the thing that I notice and and like another sort of note I wrote down was just like a lot of it to me sounds like, I guess, when listening contextually to like the end of Sleep, for example, moving into the start of High on Fire, like that's what I was likening it to. And like this to me is like it there's a lot of that, like I suppose like more like metal, heavier metal riffing happening, but in the context of a doom band, I suppose. And
Yeah.
so like, I mean, for me, like I love that. Like, I mean, I love both sides of it. I obviously love the more bluesy side of it, but I really love the heavy stuff too. And I mean, I think the way that the recordings come out on it really brings out how fucking heavy it is, which is great. Like, it sounds awesome.
Well, like my favorite, like High on Fire is like one of my favorite bands ever. And I like am not allowed to listen to them anymore because I just start writing High on Fire songs.
My favorite stuff of High on Fire still is the slow songs. Like whenever High on Fire have a slow song on a record, to me it's the best song. And like
Exactly.
I think it's because I mean the dude is so good at writing. I mean, he wrote arguably one of the best 1 hour long songs of all time. So he can write slow shit, is very much in his wheelhouse. But like, so, and that's honestly what I think these two songs like remind me of the most is High on Fire, which might say, I guess in the context of talking about Potion, that might sound weird given that, as you just said, they're sort of now known as like a thrash band, but that's what this really reminded me of.
That's cool.
So the next the note that I put down about the first song, Torchbearer, is that I think, you got a front runner now for another. Aaron will talk about it for 5 years. Bridge into outro riff.
That's where I like to make people wait 6 or 7 minutes for the good riff. It's like a reward. Like you've sat through enough bullshit.
Yeah.
Here's the best riff of the song. It's not like it's not the greatest marketing like strategy. Like 3 people hear it.
Well, we've already heard of Stella's PR prowess, so we're not expecting much.
It's good. It's the same.
It's good.
Yeah. So like the wiggly riff in Torchbearer, you mean?
Yeah, and then like it moves into what I would describe as like probably, your other songs have like breakdowny type riffs, but I think the last riff is probably like the first legit like Potion pit riff.
Like you could mosh to it.
yeah. Slowly, but you could.
Yeah. We call it Fight Doom.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think that was actually tough because when we were recording it, we really had to like sludge it up so it didn't sound like a metalcore band. But yeah, I like that riff. I don't know. I think it's just like I said, like we still listen to a lot of hardcore and we still listen to death metal, and there's certain stuff from those genres that I still really like. And I don't know. It's not even on purpose. Like I said, I wasn't even sure that this stuff sounded that different from the older stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just stuff that's fun to play live.
Yeah. Well, I think the other thing too that like you and I have talked about recently was also like, I suppose like the way the vocals sound on this too, like the vocals, and I think as well the guitar leads too are far more to the front now than even like, I mean, on Seven Sorcerers, the vocals and the leads are like way in the back. And like, was that, I mean, I know you mentioned, when we talked about it previously, you mentioned putting the vocals up front a bit more, keeping them a bit cleaner was more to represent how you guys play live. But was that like the conscious thought on doing this, or was that kind of an afterthought of recording it?
It was honestly, I think it's kind of a result of when we first started, we were a clean singing band, and coming from hardcore, that's scary.
Yeah.
It's really not something you fuck with. So I guess we really wanted the early stuff to sound like a Doom band. Like the production style of Doom is such an important part of being a doom band, and the guitar tone having fucking super loud guitars and kind of drums and vocals in the back. Like it was really just, like I said, it was kind of like discovering the genre and discovering where we sit in the genre. So it was really important at the start that we got it right. And that meant quiet vocals, kind of, you know, even some of the solos and stuff like that, I didn't want them to be too show-offy. I kind of wanted them to be pretty buried. But now it just feels like we're clearly a doom band. We've done it for a little while now. And yeah.